Well, thank you, friends. Shabbat Shalom. Greetings to you all. Now, I hope you're all enjoying year 2017. We're but a few days away from a rather historic U.S. inauguration now. It should be quite the show. Let us hope it is the pinnacle of a peaceful transition of power, the truest sign of democracy anywhere. I've never come across so many people who want to be away during these days. So let us share good wishes with all who may have some trepidation over the impending change. Change is good. Now, while in the past we could easily say the more things change, the more they stay the same, this time it may very well be change. Come, mothers and fathers throughout the land, don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new one. If you can't, lend your hand, for the times they are a-changing. Well, they certainly are a-changing, and they're changing now. And the times that Jacob and Joseph were together in Egypt was also a period of great change. And of course, this would be a great time to take a moment to renew the spirit and energy, and once again take time to be thankful for all the miracles of our lives, our health, our happiness, our families and friends, and the great love that envelops us and everyone we know. And let us share that with those in need and send out some energy to help heal those in need of healing and renewal at this time of hope, of miracles, of light, of change. Sending goodwill, love, peace, and thanks is such an easy thing to do. To transmit energy to everyone, to everybody you know and need. So just call out names for whoever you know, for Bob, for Viv, for Marvin, for Melissa. So think of those in need. Call out healing for them, the kindness, healing, well wishes, goodwill, and love that you all send out simply circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you. Me, Shaberach, Avoteinu, Makor HaBracha, Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Amen. Let us all have our spirits renewed. Misha Berach. Now, this week, my friends, it's a really big week in Torah times. We're going to end the Joseph Chronicles. Vayachi, and he lived. Title, once again, not overly indicative of what you're reading. We say goodbye to the book of Genesis. Now, one of the only biblical books that can stand on its own. So, hasta la vista, baby. It's a strange ending to a book that began with cosmic creation. It progressively narrowed its focus from the universe to the world to a family that represents us all, with all the petty human ego-based jealousies, foibles, resentments, and fears that we carry. The story of a creator of all men, all things, all together. And it never changed from that. God never ceased being the God of all men, all things. But the story shifted its focus. When man was evicted from Eden, it became the story of the descent of man's soul from perfection to what it is. And we're now going to begin the process of elevation and returning. There's that integral Jewish concept of return to a state of perfection once again. And as I pointed out, in the past, and I'll point out again in the future when it comes to reading the Torah, there are bookends to notice. Jacob began his life manipulating the blessing meant for his brother, and paying karmic debts for actions he took. And he ends his life manipulating the blessings for his children. This is a story that's about the inherent behavior we exhibit. It's about nature versus nurture. Now, Joseph was 17 when he was sent to Egypt. We say that he was sent down to Egypt, as if again descended into a pit. And that's what the slavery became, enslavement in the pit. And this Parsha, Vayechi, and he lived, says, and Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the two key players, Jacob and Joseph. Jacob had a son Joseph who he manipulated and used to spy on his brothers for 17 years. And now Joseph, as the ruler of Egypt, is a wise, sensitive man, cares for his father for 17 years. And we're only told that because Jacob's end is coming. Not only does Jacob die in this parsha, but Joseph dies too. Now, part of life is preparing for death. And part of preparing for death is preparing for life after death, if you believe in it. Now, Jacob prepared for death in full confidence because he had a relationship with the living God. Now, some people believe that religion is simply a crutch for people who fear death. That may sometimes be the case, but it certainly does not apply to those who are simply studying Torah. The Torah does not say much about life after death, actually. It's a religious text that really is not a book about how to go to heaven or what happens after we die. The Torah is more concerned with how we live in this lifetime, not the next. Now, it is possible to read the entire Torah and conclude that there is no afterlife or resurrection from the dead. It doesn't occur. Now, in the Second Temple period, which is a very fascinating period, there was a sect of Judaism called the Sadducees. And they did exactly that. They read the Torah, did not see anything about an afterlife, and concluded there is no afterlife. No heaven, no hell, no resurrection from the dead. Now, another sect of Judaism from the same period disagreed. They were called the Pharisees. They read the same Torah, but came to a different conclusion. Now, though the Torah is not a book about the afterlife or how to receive eternal life, the Pharisees found many hints and clues that pointed towards the afterlife and the resurrection from the dead. And there's, of course, like a midrash story about it. Once a Pharisee named the Rabbi Shammai was arguing with the Sadducees. They asked him to prove from the Torah that the dead would be raised. And you can find this in Sanhedrin 90b. And it's talking about Exodus 6:4. So Rabbi Shammai says, from where in Torah do we learn the resurrection of the dead? From the verse, I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan. It does not say to give you the land of Canaan. It says to give them. Therefore, because Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob haven't yet received the land, the resurrection of the dead is proved from the Torah. It may be a bit of a stretch. I think that Rabbi Shammai's point is that God promised to give the land to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not just to their descendants. God must keep his promise, but in order to do so, he'll have to raise the patriarchs from the dead. And this explains why Jacob was so adamant about being buried in the tomb of his fathers back in the land of Canaan. I love Bible stories. They're fantastic. And we got some great ones coming up in the next couple of weeks. And in some ways, that story also is a story of karma. A person does not know what future opportunities he forfeits when he gives in to temptation. Now, spiritual potentials are lost each time we fail to stand firm against what we know is wrong. Observe what takes place between these family members as they ready for the death of a patriarch. Now, friends, do you remember the debate about whether Abraham's sending his servant to find a bride for Isaac was a deathbed wish or not? And therefore added to confusion because it then told the whole story out of sequence. Well, Genesis 47:29 pretty well confirms that. And Israel's days to die drew close. And he called his son Joseph and said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, place your hand under my thigh. Practice kindness and faithfulness with me. Don't bury me in Egypt. The placing of the hands under the thighs is a deathbed vow. which is what happened with Abraham. And when he dies, Joseph takes the body and buries him with his family in Machpelah, the family cave. Anyhow, watch the relationships and the banter between Jacob and Joseph. Jacob with his other sons, and Joseph with his brothers. They're all fascinating. Jacob is old and ill, and he's ready to die. So he takes Joseph's sons as his own. Genesis 48:5. And now your two sons who were born to you in the land of Egypt by my arrival to you in Egypt, they're mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be like Reuben and Simeon. Well, the great patriarch, the father of the 12th tribe, was trading in two of his sons, his first two sons, to take Joseph's two sons. And some believe that he actually adopted them from Joseph as his own children. Genesis 48:10. And Israel's eyes were heavy from old age. He was not able to see. And he goes to bless them and switches his hands over the elder and younger. A replay of his life as his is about to end. You know, he deceived his blind father, and now he's blind. He took the blessing meant for the elder, and he's now going to give the younger the blessing. And so Joseph points out that Jacob has the boys reversed, and he wants Jacob to alter it so that they can be properly blessed. The right hand over the elder, the left hand over him, but Jacob's got them reversed. Genesis 48:19. And his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. So the man who took the blessing of the firstborn, knowing it was wrong, now gives the blessing to Joseph's younger over the elder. And it's not like these are children. Joseph has been married over 25 years by now. And so this crossed hand image extended in the exchange with Joseph, in which the old man says he knows what he is doing, is in effect a kind of summarizing thematic symbol of the entire book of Genesis. The right hand of the father, conferring the blessing, reaches across to embrace the head of the younger brother. And the elder, his head covered by the old man's left hand, receives a lesser blessing. It's fantastic stuff when you stop and think about it. And then, like Cassandra, the great daughter of Priam, Jacob becomes a fortune teller, Genesis 49:1. And Jacob called to his sons and said, gather, and I'll tell you what will happen to you in the future days. Well, this is setting up the part which we refer to as Jacob blessing his sons. Now, and that is how most translations would put it, but it was from a very ancient poetic piece in the Torah. So they think it might be from an original piece, which translated as assemble and hearken, O Jacob's sons, and hearken to Israel your father. And I thought it was fascinating that this one small line actually uses both his names. He calls his sons so that he may bless them. It's not just fortune telling. It's a fortune telling type of blessing, but it is about an incredible list of, and I won't just say blessings because many of them are not blessings at all. And after Jacob died, was buried, Joseph's brothers immediately began to fear once again. Genesis 50:15. Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead. And they said, if Joseph will despise us, he'll pay us back all the bad that we dealt to him. They know their karma's coming. Now maybe, they think maybe Joseph was only nice to them because his father was alive. But now that he's dead, he won't be so nice. So they do what is natural to them. They scheme. They lie. Nature versus nurture. Sometimes we do not pay enough attention to nature. It's nature's way of telling you something's wrong. It's nature's way of telling you in a song. It's nature's way of receiving you. It's nature's way of retrieving you. It's nature's way of telling you something's wrong. The brother's nature was to deceive and lie, but Joseph learned to be different from the environment that he had grown up in. Now, our nature does tell us whether something we are contemplating is right or wrong. So contained within this strange reading of bizarre blessings is one of the great lessons in life, my friends. We all know it is wrong, but we can often still judge a book by its cover. And usually, it's because of the immediate judgments we make without realizing it. Joseph's brothers fall into this. Well, we actually don't know what happened. It's simply based on who they are, who they have been, how they demonstrate their belief systems. We think they're lying when they say that Jacob said Joseph should forgive them. Now, friends, we manifest what we think, not what we want. We color all our decisions by our beliefs. What you believe is your reality, and we are judged because we judge. Joseph now demonstrates that he has actually followed in the footsteps of Esau. He has forgiven. Genesis 50:21. Now don't be afraid. I'll provide for you and your infants. And he consoled them, and he spoke on their hearts. Now we've seen that each act of deception since Jacob led to another deception that came as a recompense. It's about karma. Deceptions and hurts within a family can go on in a perpetual cycle. And in order to bring it to an end, one member of the family who is entitled to retribution must stop the cycle and forgive instead. That is what Joseph does. This beautiful end of the story of deceptions and retributions completes an intricately embroidered narrative. Genesis ends. Genesis 50:26. And Joseph died, 110 years old, and they embalmed him and set him in a coffin in Egypt. The world is sacred, so is everything in it. Express your gratitude. Light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life. The lives of those you love, share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone and end the terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together. We celebrate each other. We love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. Please do. Learn to forgive. Learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Send healing, goodwill, and love to all who need it. Share your holiness with everybody. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace and healing. For you to honor the people of your life and honor yourselves and honor the journey that you are on. Friends, keep your eyes open to what you may not be seeing. Keep your ears open and listen to the world around you. Remember, this is an organic book. The lessons, the laws, the ethics, the ritual may change with the times. It's how it stays current, relevant, new, meaningful. It continues to provide us with insight and answers. If we set in motion all that happens in our lives, our intention, our cause, our effect, everything is linked. Now, as I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. It is the great mechanism of the Torah. You do have that knowledge of what is good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, to any other person you may have wronged, and ask forgiveness. And do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. And forgive those who have hurt you. Be forgiving, be compassionate. Do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. It is in sight. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep trying to keep teaching. Keep spreading your holiness. Do not follow fear, follow love. It's always in front of you. Remember to have faith and unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and of all of you. And in my blessing for you all, act with purity of heart and mind, despising none, defrauding none, hating none, cherishing all, honoring every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all peoples know peace. May you nurture kindness and love everywhere. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of change shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young. Stay forever young, my friends. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone is there for you whether you know it or not. Now, next week, we begin the Book of Names, and it's a beauty. And we start the return back to perfection. Now, thank you all for joining me, for participating, for sharing your lives, your love, your time with me. Happy inauguration, my friends. I love you all. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Be well till then. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.